As I watched the various remembrances of 9/11, a day that, like most Americans, I remember vividly. I know where I was, I know where Callista was, I know how shocking and angering it was. But as I listened to all the various memorial services, I found myself getting angrier and angrier. The fact is, we need a great national debate. It's now been 22 years. The Taliban is back in charge of Afghanistan. The people who were involved in 9/11 are still in prison. Not a one of them has been executed. We're faced with a worldwide insurgency by Islamist militants, which in places like Nigeria involves killing thousands of people. We have seen the chaos grow in the Middle East, in Syria, in Iraq, in Yemen, in Lebanon. We have seen a bigger and stronger Iran with greater ability to threaten us. People say, well, we're safer than we were on 9/11. Nonsense. We're in much greater danger than we were on 9/11. The fact is, the North Koreans now have nuclear weapons, and they're developing an ability to deliver them here, to us, to wipe out our cities. The fact is, the Chinese have vastly more nuclear weapons and a vastly more sophisticated military than they had 22 years ago. The fact is, the Iranians have grown stronger and stronger. They're the largest worldwide supporters of terrorism. They are building a nuclear capacity. They're building a missile capacity. Within a very few years, either by shipborne missiles or just by launching them as vehicles that go into space, they're going to have an ability to reach certainly Europe and probably the United States. Venezuela is more anti-American than it was 22 years ago. There is turmoil throughout Latin America. Any objective evidence, we do not have a strategy to defeat those who attacked us on 9/11. We don't have a strategy to defend the country. We spend a ton of money. We have huge bureaucracies. We have the most expensive military in the world. We have 18 intelligence services. But if you were to sit them down and say, tell me how you would stop the next sophisticated attack, they couldn't tell you. If you were to sit them down and say, give me an honest assessment of why we lost in Afghanistan, they couldn't tell you. The objective reality is that we have not confronted how dangerous the world is. We have not confronted how much at risk the United States is. I participated in the Hart-Rudman Commission, which President Clinton and I created while I was Speaker. And we worked for 3 years. It's the most complicated and sophisticated overview of American defense requirements since the late 1940s. And we said at the very beginning of our report, the greatest threat to the United States was a weapon of mass destruction going off in an American city, probably from a terrorist group. And we called for a serious Homeland Security Department. What we have now is a bureaucratic disaster. It can't even defend and control the Mexican border. It's totally unprepared for a nuclear event inside the United States. And frankly, it's a huge mound of bureaucracy with minimal positive effect. We are not better off. We are not safer. But what's most sobering is, we could set aside 9/11 every year to have a great national debate, to really talk through what lessons should we learn from our failures, what changes should we make, and how can we measure our capacity to protect ourselves and our capacity to defeat our opponents. That's the kind of conversation we really need. That's what 9/11 should be dedicated to, remembering and honoring the past, but learning from the present and preparing for the future. Unfortunately, our current system does none of that. We have wonderful ceremonies. We have very sincere people. I find it very painful to watch the news media from that day. It still enrages me. I still think it's tragic, but it's not enough. We have to think about and prepare for the future, not just remember the past. My new book, March to the Majority, is now a bestseller, and is available at Amazon and Barnes & Noble and retailers everywhere. Get it today by clicking on the link in the description below.